well. So
will he be brought to Ghana? Here and now at 5 minutes to 8. What do you know? Will he be brought? Yesterday we saw a news item.
Yes, he will be. He will be. Look, I mean, the possibility is very high. The possibility is very high, and he could either self-deport or face, deportation by the immigration judge on January 20th. He's here, physically present, and made to answer for whatever charges have been leveled against him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And I also mentioned that there are other investigations that are going on. So it's not only the SML investigation, which has been conducted by the OSP, that links Ken Ofori to issues of accountability or alleged acts of criminality. There are other investigations that I am undertaking, that will be announced at the appropriate time.
Still on his person?
Yes, and for transactions linked to him. So
because we heard from his legal team, and you said that they are in touch with you.
Out of war, Attorney General be breaking silence concerning Ken Ofori. Our church say Ken Ofori extradite no. Na old guso odin komono reveal shocking secrets. HHM say a year 20th of January and then 19th in watch na Ken Ofori extradite no na enkomo say Ken Ofori in fact Chronoboy course bebre wo MPP party ni mu no Ken Ofori nsa ehye nyoma bebre ase. Unim say Ken Ofori na no finance minister. Inti obi se go kodi nsem money wo bebi no chiska den obe sign no my way o se sa Chronobo bebre course wo MPP mu no Ken Ofori nsa wo bebre mu na rofo enkomo no di no ba be stress ye on Ghana for eye omo frustration omo de mo. According to Attorney General Ghana for bi no mo kaso omo nye adwuma asa grobi no mudi ni ade out of war say Ghana for kasa omudi kan. But one thing I was say Attorney General making it clear on chechi musenya procedures ni sifatie because he na able to me to say what Attorney General. Yes, of course, complaints in the ababebre me cry me can who be make I say they were more Ken Ofori case as a more funny serious be. But Attorney General my atias say when it comes to dealing with cases with to say Ken Ofori case now, it takes time. To me sorry preocupe man be kasa pass a final verdict or no crown or gather any evidence we are no the Babema court. Now court decide the Omudebe Ken Ofori now out of war and come on Attorney General dear or decide no. And easy wabu bon sem so acheche mu Ken Ofori in a current condition. Out of war to me need the immune say Ken Ofori medical ka o me last video no mu this video musume san ka say Ken Ofori mu ya de ne baga na wo hu ni freedom also nya. This is saying chairman want to me moya bi I'll move to me coffee bano. I'm sure no nya bi because was stressing system not check. Now monsa so musi office o major mawako there be. Now for the NTO komono yenti in someone Attorney General de tuja. Na mami who's wondering to comments.
And who else would have paid $47 million to an architect for this work without, the finance minister clearing it? So that was, so he was at the heart of some of the things that we are investigating. All right. And I'm not pursuing him for any personal reasons. I have nothing against him or his family or the Akufo-Addo government. Okay. But we are just pursuing an agenda of exacting accountability for things that have happened in our republic.
And now he's facing 78 count of, indictment over 1.4 billion Ghana cedis loss. We talk about the SML contract.
Yeah.
You mentioned the National Cathedral project. What specific evidence links him to this? And you said it's a criminal enterprise.
All right.
And how's your office coordinating with the OSP?
Oh, we are coordinating very well. Our role in the whole of this was to help the OSP, to transmit the extradition request to the Americans, and it's working really very well.
So will he be brought to Ghana? Here and now at 5 minutes to 8. What do you know? Will he be brought? Yesterday we saw a news item.
Yes, he will be. He will be. Look, the possibility is very high. The possibility is very high. And he could either self-deport or face, deportation by the immigration judge on January 20th. Yes. So after the hearing, we will get to know what orders the judge made, regarding his immigration status. But it's more serious than I have, put out. But
it's more serious.
Yeah, but at the appropriate time, I don't want to announce. But
what scoop can you give? Because you owe it to Ghanaians to just give us a win. How serious is this?
No, it's very serious. It's very serious. It's more serious than I have divulged at this point in time. So at this point, it will stay at a level of my briefing the president.
How will you ensure that due process for somebody like Ken Ofori, a statesman, a former finance minister, whom you've urged to come home and recuperate? Those were your words.
Yes.
How will you ensure that due process is followed? Because many feel that, well, you are going after he can be tried in absentia. So why the rush?
No, but he can be tried in absentia. All right, that is true. But it is better when he comes to to answer. When he's here, physically present and made to answer for whatever charges have been leveled against him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And I also mentioned that there are other investigations that are going on. So it's not only the SML investigation, which has been conducted by the OSP, that links Ken Ofori Atta to issues of accountability or alleged acts of criminality. There are other investigations that I am undertaking, that will be announced at the appropriate time.
Still on his person?
Yes, and for transactions linked to him. So
because we heard from his legal team, and you said that they are in touch with you in your interview on Newsfile on Joy FM, you mentioned it. But his legal team calls the U.S. detention an ambush, tied to medical treatment, because we
on live, and some of them are quite advanced. Okay, and I have 16 dockets that are yet to be placed before the courts. Some of them I'm reviewing them and asking for more evidence from the investigators.
16,
right? Yes. All right, but people are anxious because of the level of corruption that we or let me say alleged acts of corruption that we saw in the last 8 years. All right, and they think that I am the one who has to make the decision whether or not somebody goes to jail. I don't make that decision. I place the evidence before the judges, and the judges make that decision. And of course, you just refer to the Constitution. The Constitution requires that people get a fair trial, meaning that there has to be due process. Okay, there has to be they have to be given all the opportunities to defend themselves. And when you are facing jail of 10 to 15, 20 years, you're not going to take it lying down. You will have to fight back. All right. So what is happening now is in accord with the letter and spirit of the Constitution, and I'm not going to rush anybody through. In fact, I don't even have the power to rush anything through now, except that, of course, once I am prepared, once my prosecutors are in court and prepared with their evidence, the trial can go on and proceed to to judgment.
Attorney General, will you say that the calls from these people are well placed, they are germane, they are genuine?
Well, they are genuine calls, right? The question whether they are germane is another one. All right, because genuineness in the sense that these are citizens who are responding to the situation that we find ourselves as a country. They are genuinely concerned, about the fact that accountability is being slow. All right, and I don't want to always sound like I'm placing blame on the judicial system, but if you compare what happens in other jurisdictions, our courts are relatively slow. All right, and for good reason. Sometimes, for instance, yesterday, one of the judges had to take an adjournment because the courtroom was so hot. The air condition had broken down, and then she had to adjourn the case. Okay, those are some of the circumstances. And that's a genuine concern, because if she's not feeling very comfortable working in that environment, she will have to adjourn the case. All right, so that happens. But Bola, if you want, you can do some research on, let's say, a summary trial in the US. It doesn't take less than 1 year for a summary trial to a trial on indictment that is like a first degree felony, murder, robbery and the rest of them, and white collar crimes that are really serious offenses, all right, such as racketeering. They can take up to 3 to 4 years to resolve, and that is even America. All right. Now, I noticed that when the FBI is making a request to me to extradite someone here who has, committed offenses that have affected Americans, all right, I look at what the bill of indictment, and the investigation would have taken 6 years. All right, 6 years.
So with the extradition that we saw happening now,
yes,
it didn't start.
It didn't. No.
Oh.
And they are so painstaking that sometimes they will even allow you to come into America, interact with your your co-conspirators and the persons who are committing the crimes with you. Leave America, come. You will not even know that you are being trailed. All right, and they do this painstakingly for 6 years before they then say, okay, now we have sufficient evidence to approach the Ghanaian authorities to extradite this person. Okay, in our case, you do an investigation. So, for instance, the oral report was presented to me in February. All right, by May, June last year, people were saying that I was slow. How do you expect me to?
Did that get you worried?
It got me worried because you see the oral was at the heart of our campaign. Okay, now I didn't foresee that in the execution people will be so impatient, and it's probably because of their lack of understanding of how the judicial system works. In fact, some people, some of my colleagues used to say that the oral report has given me low-hanging fruits. Low-hanging fruits,
yes,
and all that I needed to do was to pluck the fruits, and then
but that is not the case.
But that is not the case. Okay, so if you have bare-boned allegations of wrongdoing, all right, they may be credible, and some are proving to be very credible now. We have the drip investigation, we have SkyTrain, and so on and so forth. Right. Now, you need to put the flesh to the bones in order that it will make sense before a judge. Because remember that the standard of proof in a criminal case is beyond reasonable doubt. So if I take the allegations and place them before a judge, they will be dismissed. And when they are dismissed, the same Ghanaians who are urging me to hurry up will say that he didn't do his work well and then he went to court and failed.
Interesting. Doctor, you warned and you mentioned that 2026 will be different with potential 20 billion recoveries targeted. With scandals like PDS or National Cathedral, we'll see charges first.
No. So okay, fees. First of all, I was asked about the 20 billion.
Yes.
When we are going to see the 20 billion recovered, and I said it is a projection. It was a projection by the oral committee. The oral committee chairperson, the Honorable Okujeda. Before we came into power.
Okay.
When we came into power. In fact, it was on the day that the oral report was being handed over to me that he mentioned the figure,
correct,
the 20.1 billion. But of course, that figure was based upon his own calculation of, the sums that were involved. So, for instance, if you take, let's say, drip, all right, the figure involved there is over $100 and something million, right? When you take the value of lands that were, allegedly looted, they estimate the land in cantonments is what, 500,000 a plot.
Yeah.
So what he did was basically a back of the envelope type of calculation, and that is the figure that he put out. Now he has put a heavy load on my head because now everyone expects me to bring in, 20 billion. Yes, but
is that the case from where you sit?
No, from where I sit, it may be up to 20 billion. It may be up to 20 billion if you take the funds we are tracing offshore, into account, because a lot of monies were moved out. Offshore. All right, and but if you take what is in country, the kinds of things we are looking at now, You know, so if you take, let's say the buffer stock matter is 78 million Ghana cedis, that's like $7.8 million, right? Or there's $7 million. If you take another $7 million from Eduboahin, $2 million from Sky Train, and so on and so forth, I do not think that you go up to 21 billion. But the offshore transactions are the ones that, you know, we are tracing, and we are thinking that those will be very huge ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've assured Ghanaians that oral recoveries will start flowing this year.
Yes, this year.
Can you give us specific timeline for the first public payout? And which cases will lead them?
I cannot.
Okay.
At this point in time, I cannot say that by February or by June. Yes, but hopefully we should be able. I mean, as I said on Saturday that
yes,
the GRA, the Ghana Revenue Authority, has confirmed a figure of 22 million as being the figure that was the tax evasion in the drip scandal. So definitely
plus a $2 million overpayment.
Yes. So those ones, you know, I know I'm close to taking action to recover those ones.
What happens to the company that has admitted to warehouse tax exempting goods? Because you're saying they are close to taking the money from them. Is that it?
Which company?
I mean, in the drip scandal,
yes.
They said that 22 million in confirmed tax evasion.
Yes. So we are close to taking the money from them, but the warehousing issue is in relation to a letter that they wrote in March, right? They wrote a letter in March to GRA saying that the goods that had been cleared into the National Customs Territory, you know, instead of going into a bonded warehouse, should now be accepted and warehoused. All right. So that letter, if you take those goods, they are like, I think they have the value of tax there is about 17.5 million. I mean 17.5 million. Then you take those that were not supposed to be warehouses, about 5-point-something million. So that's why we have a little over 22 million to collect from them.
And they are ready to pay, or you're going for that?
I mean,
money?
I'm going after them for it. I mean, nobody. But of course, this is a liability that has been established.
Yes.
All right. So either they bring me a check for 22 million, in excess of 22 million cedis, or they, you know, get prosecuted or go to court and then seize their properties.
Right.
Yes.
Daniel Domlevo warns oral must stay hot.
Yes.
To keep public trust.
Yes.
How do you respond to criticisms that, you know, it's more political rhetoric than action? You know,
no.
Nearly a year in,
yes.
You listen to people on the streets, on radio, and they feel that. And you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
You are closing in, you say.
Yes. Okay. So I am a little bit, shocked. I said it on Saturday that my own brother Domlevo is saying that we're not staying hot, right? I don't know what kinds of actions, you know, they want me to take that will show that oral is hot. I'm prosecuting people in court, all right? I'm investigating people, all right? The only thing is that, Bola, I don't, for instance, make a great show of the investigations, right? In 2017, all right, the NPP made a great show of all the investigations. I mean, people like my brother Kojochum Buafo were being dragged to EOCO, and then it was being leaked to the media. Okay, so every day they were, you know, so for instance, when they came to my house in July 2017, you know, to arrest me, because they said I had signed the Ameri deal. I was part of the group that signed the Ameri deal, and they were suspecting that corruption might have occurred there. When they came to arrest me, it didn't take 30 minutes after the police left, and OKFM, all the FM stations were reporting the fact that myself, Jinapo, Dr. Kobina, this in Donko, okay, had been arrested. Okay, so they made a show of it. So it was, always in the news that NDC politicians are being investigated. I don't make a show of what is happening. So people are called quietly to, let's say, the NIB or BNI, or they are taken to, EOCO look, when Wontumi was arrested, okay, it was the nature of the arrest that made it public. He would have been taken in without anybody, knowing.
Really?
Yeah. He would have, no, we invited him several times, and then.
So why was there a media, No,
it was the way he
carnival
himself,
around it.
Yeah, it was the way he himself, responded.
In that of course, this according to Attorney General, no, and I waiting in come make things clear to us. Now therefore, the matter chop hot. Ken Ofori Atta be the finance minister. Ghana sika na asha wonsa. We say the obaya ube boa mo diska. Nyeso mbe diska mpo. Almost sign originally to me so as finance minister. Egu banks. Nipa ba ku nsem ni bebre we di ade. Enti se Ghana fo buafu a they deserve it. Was so mubunfu because in your mark Ken Ofori Atta edi ni 2 million year wo Ghana ha no is too much. Me say banks collapse here under the MPP government in ano. Ken Ofori Atta can be because no knows who be in a bank. But if we see for the meantime now for mami who's wondering your comment, the more updates, the more gist, eba wakwe.